Hello everyone, this is Dr. Sujit Kumar, Professor of Surgery, Karpavinaga Institute of Medical Sciences. So in this session I am going to talk about right iliac fossa mass. So before going into that discussion, we will first discuss about abdominal region, anatomy of the abdominal region. So you all know that first thing is you have to put two vertical lines, that is crossing through from mid-clavicular point to mid-inguinal point, and two horizontal lines. The first line is through the transpyloric plane, second line is through the transtubercular plane. So by putting these four lines you will get 9 regions. Okay, so these regions you all know that the first one is epigastric, umbilical, then hypogastric or suprapubic. Similarly, right hypochondrium, left hypochondrium, right lumbar, left lumbar, right iliac and left iliac. So we are going to discuss anything what is happening in the right iliac mass, right iliac fossa mass. So next thing we are going to discuss about what are the structures that are present in the right iliac fossa. So these are all intraperitoneal structures like appendix, cecum, ileum, mesentery and mesoappendix. So any abnormality, so you got right iliac fossa mass, there is more probability to get origin from these organs only. Similarly, you got important, that is ascending colon and iliopsoas muscle from the retroperitoneal part. So these you should keep in your mind while you are going for discussion of right iliac fossa mass. So next comes the clinical features. What are the clinical features? The first thing is the patient will be complaining of abdominal pain, particularly lower abdominal pain, particularly in the right iliac fossa region. And you should ask in detailed history about the nature and type of the pain. And second symptom, you should ask about the nausea and vomiting. So vomiting also you should take a detailed history like duration, how many episodes, what is the nature of the vomitus, what is the content, what is the color, what is the smell, all these things you should take a detailed history. Then followed by fever and presence of mass itself. Patient will complaining of mass in some cases, you have to take a detailed history. Then followed by loss of weight and loss of appetite. So that supports the malignancy. You have to rule out the malignancy. So these are all clinical features. So you have to take a detailed history and followed by the abdominal examination. Differential diagnosis. So just now we discussed about all the planes, from which plane the abdominal mass can arise. Differential diagnosis you have to talk about. The first thing is parietal wall. So that lump abdominal mass that is arising from parietal wall, and these two are the conditions like lipoma and desmoid tumor. Okay, these two common conditions are responsible for the parietal swelling in the abdominal. Particularly what we are talking is the right iliac fossa. And if you take intra-abdominal compartment, there is also, again I told, intraperitoneal and retroperitoneal. So most of the time you will get this, that is this appendicular mass, appendicular abscess, ileocecal tuberculosis, carcinoma of the cecum. Mainly it comes under intraperitoneal. And the remaining four things, carcinoma, ascending colon, iliopsoas abscess, undescended kidney and undescended kidney, are all comes under retroperitoneal swelling. So these things you have to assess, keep in your mind. If it is parietal wall, you have to think about these things. If it is intra-abdominal and intraperitoneal and intra-abdominal retroperitoneal, you have to think. So these are all differential diagnosis for the right iliac fossa mass. So in this clinical scenario, I am going to discuss about two important things, that is the appendicular mass and the ileocecal tuberculosis. So that two are the common differential diagnosis. So I am going to discuss in detail about appendicular mass and ileocecal tuberculosis. So what are the investigations you will do in case of right iliac fossa mass? First one is you do the total count, because I already told that inflammatory condition, appendicular mass, appendicular abscess, definitely count will be increased. and differential count you have to do. ESR will also be increased, and main investigation is the ultrasound abdomen, first and most important investigation, and followed by you want to assess the extent, you can do the CT abdomen. These barium series investigation, these investigations are very useful in cases for the when you are suspecting ileocecal tuberculosis, and colonoscopy is an added investigation in case of suspected CA colon ileocecal tuberculosis, CA-cecum. So these are all basic investigations that are required for evaluation of right iliac fossa mass. Barium series. Okay, so that just want to talk about something about barium series in the investigation. So because it has got more specific findings, so I just want to talk. Okay, here the first one is the pulled up cecum. Here, because of these findings commonly come across in case of ileocecal tuberculosis. Okay, so normally you got ascending colon is there, then cecum is there, then appendix and ileum is there. What will happen? The cecum will be pulled up because the cecum is normally present in right iliac fossa. This cecum will be pulled upward towards a right subhepatic region. This is because of the inflammation. The cecum is present at a higher position. This is one thing. And the angle, you see the angle between the ileum and cecum. So this is the angle. This angle will also be varied. That is because of the pulling of the cecum. For example, you got cecum. If cecum is pulled up, what will happen? The ileum will be like this. Okay, so this angle will be obtuse in nature. Okay, ileocecal angle. This angle is called ileocecal angle. It will be obtuse in nature. The next other signs: Sterling sign, inverted umbrella sign or Fleischner sign, string sign, megailium. So these three signs I am going to discuss in upcoming slides. The megailium is nothing but because of the obstruction, there is a dilatation of the ileum, that is called megailium. This gooseneck deformity. So suppose you got a cecum is there, what will happen? This terminal part of the ileum will be narrowed, and again you can able to see the dilated part. So this is called as gooseneck deformity. See other signs, I will show some slides. Okay, so this is Fleischner sign, which is nothing but which is otherwise called as inverted umbrella sign. Here you can able to see the thickening of the ileocecal valves, and there is a wide gapping of the valve with the narrowing of the terminal ileum. And this is Sterling sign, which is nothing but conical and shrunken cecum can be seen, and narrowing of the terminal ileum, and there is a rapid emptying of the diseased segment. This is pulled up cecum. The cecum becomes conical and shrunken, retracted out of the iliac fossa due to contraction of the mesocolon. Next, the most important two diseases I am going to talk. One is the appendicular mass. What is appendicular mass? Appendicular mass is an inflammatory mass. Okay, inflammatory mass. So what's happened because of the inflammation of the appendix? So this is cecum, this is ileum, you got an appendix. Okay, so what will happen whenever there is an inflammation in the an appendix, okay, it forms a mass. It is called as phlegmon. It is nothing but an inflammatory mass. So this mass mainly consists of appendix will be there, then cecum will be there, then ileum will be there, and along with the greater omentum it will come and wrap. This is called policeman of the abdomen. So these four together it forms a mass called appendicular mass. So the presentation already we discussed. Straight away I am going for the treatment. What is the treatment for appendicular mass? Is a conservative treatment. It is not surgical treatment, it is a conservative treatment. a treatment called Ochsner-Sharon regimen. What you have to do? You have to do monitoring. So you do monitoring of the pulse rate. So you try to assess that pulse rate. Okay, so try to assess the pulse rate, then blood pressure, then respiratory rate, then temperature. The four vitals you have to monitor, keep on monitoring, and then IO chart, what the patient is taking and output. You have to intake and output chart. Then abdominal lump chart. So you try to assess the abdominal lump. What is the size of the lump on admission? What is the present size? Is anything increasing? Anything increasing, you have to keep on measuring. So at least 4 hours you have to, every 4 hours you have to check that what is the size of the lump. So abdominal lump chart you have to make it. Then comes the, so this is all conservative management, part of conservative management. Then comes question, that is why you have to give conservative treatment in case of appendicular mass? Why not surgery? The reason is very simple. This inflammation is already localized, so don't try to create anything. So even if you want to do any surgery, that causes more problem, like fecal fistula formation. Because of the inflammation, it forms an fistula, intracutaneous fistula. So because of this, you have to give a medical treatment, that is a conservative treatment. Even in that cases, putting the patient in conservative line of management, what are the indications? Okay. Before that, this is part of the treatment. There is you, apart from vitals you are monitoring, so you have to give these treatment, like keep the patient in nil oral, give rest to gastrointestinal tract, and intravenous fluids, supplement with intravenous fluids, and start the patient on appropriate antibiotics, like intravenous antibiotics, third generation cephalosporins. Then for gram negative you have to add aminoglycosides, and for the anaerobic you have to add metronidazole, and analgesics if required you have to give the analgesics. So by giving monitoring and giving the medical treatment, the mass will resolve over a size. Suppose if it is not resolving, there are some indications for surgical treatment also. It is not resolving, you have to intervene surgery also. What are the indications for surgical treatment in a case of an appendicular mass? These are all indications, like if the pulse rate is increasing, that is tachycardia, if the patient develops tachycardia, or if the patient complains of increase in pain or localized pain becoming generalized, that is indicative of peritonitis, you have to intervene. Or any size, increase in size of the lump, so that is also indicative of peritonitis. So in these cases you have to change it to surgical treatment, no need for the conservative line of treatment. The surgery, so what is the surgical treatment for appendicular mass? Is a appendicectomy that you should not do immediately, you should do after a period of 6 weeks, that is called interval appendicectomy. So either you can plan for lap or open appendicectomy, remove the appendix completely. Ileocecal tuberculosis, the most common cause for the abdominal tuberculosis. So it is the most common variant in case of GA tuberculosis. So the reason why it is common in the ileocecal region is because of presence of Peyer's patches, so which has lymphatic aggregations. Number 2 is the stasis of the content. Because of the valve is there will be stasis of the content. Because of that, there is chances for the more chance to get ileocecal tuberculosis. And the causative organism, you all know that Mycobacterium tuberculosis is the causative organism. So there are 3 types are there in ileocecal tuberculosis. Number 1 is ulcerative, number 2 is hyperplastic, and number 3 is the mixed type. So we are going to see one by one. What is ulcerative type? This ulcerative type is the most common ileocecal tuberculosis, that is 60% it is formed by the ulcerative type. And here you will get a typical ulcers. Okay, so typical ulcer, number 1 is a circumferential. So you got an ulcer that is circumferential you get, and these ulcers will be in transverse position, and so it forms a multiple girdle ulcer, and in between that there is a normal part is there, that is called skip lesions. Okay, so most of the time these ulcers can lead to fibrosis. So once fibrosis is there, so in the intestine it forms a stricture. So that is a pathology about the ulcerative type. So what are the clinical features? The clinical features will be, commonly it will be presenting with the diarrhea, melena, loss of appetite and loss of weight. So this is about ulcerative type. Hyperplastic tuberculosis. So in this condition you can able to see the bowel wall. So the bowel wall thickening is there, that is the initial pathology, and it will be associated with the presence of enlargement of lymph nodes. Okay, but this condition is one of the least common condition, like that only the 10% of cases you can able to see. And the clinical presentation, so this is the condition that commonly present as right iliac fossa mass, and it will be associated with the subacute intestinal obstruction. And main important point is primary. Okay, the tuberculosis starts from the intestine itself, so that is the main important feature. So next we are going to discuss about difference between the ulcerative type and hyperplastic type. Okay, the first difference is this one is secondary to pulmonary tuberculosis, and hyperplastic, this is primary GIT tuberculosis. And if you take the organism, it is virulent, here it is less virulent. And the old people will be involved in case of ulcerative, young people will be involved in hyperplastic. And the ulcers, if you see the ulcers, it will be transverse ulcers, here it is granulomatous lesion. And the clinical presentation, you can able to see the diarrhea and melena, here RAF mass. And the pathology, it will be presenting as stricture, here it is presenting as intestinal obstruction. And chest x-ray, if you take chest x-ray, primary can be seen, that is a pulmonary tuberculosis lesion can be seen in ulcerative, whereas in hyperplastic there is no primary lesion. And Berry meal, you can able to see stricture in ulcerative type, and in hyperplastic it is pulled up cecum and obtuse iliocecal angle. So these are all differences between the ulcerative type versus hyperplastic type. Finally, treatment, ileocecal tuberculosis treatment, medical treatment, that is anti-tuberculous drugs. 4 drugs you have to give, that is isoniazid, rifampicin, pyrazinamide and ethambutol. And surgery, so limited ileocecal resection means only the involved pathology you are going to remove. In case of stricture, that is stricturoplasty, so you have to do a procedure called stricturoplasty for single ulcer, and for multiple ulcer you have to do one resection and anastomosis. But the common procedure for ileocecal tuberculosis treatment is the right hemicolectomy. What is this right hemicolectomy? So which is nothing but you are going to remove some part of the bowel. Okay, so what are the things you are going to remove? First, ileum, that is the distal ileum, terminal ileum 10 centimeter, then cecum, then comes cecum, so you are going to remove the cecum, then comes appendix, you are going to remove the appendix, then ascending colon, the complete entire aspect of the ascending colon, then transverse colon, that is the proximal 2/3 of the transverse colon. Okay, in the olden days they used to do the transverse colon 1/3 of the transverse colon, proximal 1/3 only. Nowadays we are doing proximal 2/3 also. Okay, so you take out this part completely, take out this part from here to here, and the remaining content, so you got a remaining content here, you got an transverse colon content, here you got an ileum content. So these has to be anastomosed, that is iliotransverse anastomosis. Okay, so these are all about the treatment of the ileocecal tuberculosis. Okay, so this completes the right iliac fossa mass. where I have discussed two important things. One is appendicular mass and second one is the ileocecal tuberculosis.